What's happening? I'm Iron Man from the music group The Lottery, Showtime Records. You know who I am and you know what I does. I represent them Los Angeles Lakers for life. Hence the banner to my side. And of course the banner is not by my side on the screen. You're looking at the thumbnail to this video that you are now watching. But the banner is always to my side. Believe that I am Iron Man. And I appreciate everyone who's been watching the videos and leaving your great comments. I got a comment a while back about one of the videos that I just done about this 14 massive trade, this 21 player trade that I would hope go down in the near future. They said that they understood it, but not a lot of people were leaving their comments about what they thought about it because they weren't sure about if this trade is possible that it could actually go through or likely, and what would the teams have to give up, because they were just looking at it briefly, and why would they do the trade, and is it going to make all the teams better? Those are the questions I'm going to answer right now. I've already done this video and I had it up, so I have to apologize to everyone who tried to listen to it. I got some messages that there was some feedback and the sound was very poor quality, and you can turn it up full blast. You can barely hear what I'm saying. Not that anybody's trying to hear what I'm saying, but if you check into the broadcast, I mean, obviously you were trying to get a little tidbit. So I apologize for that. So I'm going to have to do this over again real quick. So I might be talking a little quicker than I normally do, but I'll make sure and be as clear as humanly possible. Let me just start off. Like I said, Luka Doncic and Dennis Smith Jr. are the future of the Rockets, Mavs, Knicks, and Pelicans. Those are the four teams that were going to be involved in this 21 player trade. Now, if you want to get a deal done, try not to involve draft picks. Make sure the money and the finances are pretty much even. Make sure that every team is getting what they want out of it. And make sure that nobody has to give up something that they really want to keep. And that's what this trade does. That's why I believe it can go through. And all the teams will get better in their eyes because they get exactly what they were looking for and not giving up anything that they wanted to keep. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This was the trade. Now we're going to start off with the Houston Rockets because I am a lifelong Laker, but I was born in Cleveland, Houston, Texas. So, of course, I represent these Houston Rockets whenever they playing a purple and gold. The Houston Rockets believe that they are that close to winning the championship. So what do they want? The style of play that they have, they don't want to give up any of their main pieces. They don't mind giving up draft picks, paying a lot of money because they know that they can barely get a star to sign over here on their own. The only way they're going to get star or below level, almost near level all-star players is through a trade. And that's why they would happily get involved in this trade and A-OK it with the quickness because they are looking for 3-and-D players. 3-and-D players, guys that play defense and that can switch on just about everything and hit about 40% on the three-pointers. That's exactly what Harrison Barnes is. Harrison Barnes will be coming over from the Dallas Mavericks, and all the Rockets, and also Ian Clark would come from the New Orleans Pelicans. That's basically to make all the finances work. But check this out. Look at the only people they'd have to give up. Brevin Knight. He's not playing right now. They'd have to give up Marquise Chris. He hasn't played in who knows how long. Michael Carter Williams, he's not a part of their long-term plans, and he hasn't been playing a long time either. Carmelo Anthony ain't even with the team. So, of course, they'll give up those 4 or 5 players. They'll give them up quick and easy. Harrison Barnes is only 26 years old. He's a near all-star player if he's playing at his best. On a really down year for all the other small forwards. But he's pretty close. But he is a 3-and-D guy. He's like 6'8", so he can switch on every single play. That's exactly what they like to do. And he's shooting three-pointers at a 40% clip. So congratulations, Harrison Barnes is the perfect guy to go to the Houston Rockets. They don't have to give up anything. They get exactly what they're looking for. So, of course, they'll be involved in this trade. Now, let's look at the New York Knicks. Who do they have to give up? They're going to give up, let's see what we got here. Mario Hazonia. He hasn't really worked out. He's fallen out of the rotation, especially with Kevin Knox getting most of the starter minutes now. So they don't mind giving him up. What they're looking for is not necessarily to win now because they're actually trying to tank. They're trying to tank so they can get a high draft pick to draft somebody like Zion. They want to get Zion from Duke or RJ Barrett, either one of those guys, but mostly Zion. So they want to lose, but they want to continue to sell out the Garden. So they need somebody who's going to put butts in the seats, somebody who can take the scoring load and the attention and the pressure off of Porzingis when he comes back, and to make sure that he feels confident that he can re-sign with them because they're moving in the right direction. They need somebody explosive and exciting so they're not realizing that they're losing all these games because they're going to get Zion Williamson, hopefully. And that person right there is Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. is who they're going to get from the Dallas Mavericks. They've had a problem with their point guard play since they drafted Frank Ntilikina last year, and it just hasn't worked out for him. And he's been on the bench and not playing for 3 or 4 games and then played 3 games. He'll be happy to leave out of there. They'll be happy to get rid of him to get the explosive and dynamic Dennis Smith Jr. So basically, they're losing Mario Hazonia. They don't mind losing him. Frank Ntilikina, they don't mind losing him because you're getting Dennis Smith Jr. and they play the same position. So it's a wash. Noah Vonleh, he's just on a 1-year deal. They just picked him up. He's become he's a really young, journeyman player who hasn't found the right spot so he can be successful. I think he was drafted by the Blazers. But of course, they'll go ahead and let him go. No problem. He's probably going to leave after the year was done anyway. And Damian Dotson, the Houston Cougars own Damian Dotson. He's a shooting guard. He's on a 2-year contract. He's getting like $1.4 million, like $1.6 million the next year. They don't mind losing him because they've already not re-signed. Well, actually they did. They signed to a new contract, Alonzo Trier, and he's their backup shooting guard, and he is a scoring dynamo. So they don't mind losing him. They don't mind losing him. They believe that Trier is the future, and they'll be willing to part ways with Damian Dotson just to get Dennis Smith Jr. and to make the numbers work. So they get exactly what they want. The fans are happy. They still get the tank, and they get someone who's going to make the Porzingis, they're going to make the unicorn very, very happy, especially when they see what this guy can do. And he's going to love being there because the bright lights, and he felt like the Dallas Mavericks told him he was going to be the star of the show. He's going to be the bridge to the future. They were going to build around him, and then they upped and decided to get, smartly. It was a wise decision to get Luka Doncic, but they play the same position basically, and it's just not fair to either one of them. Go and let Dennis Smith Jr. go and try to build for the future around Luka Doncic, the Wonder Kid. Okay, then we've got the New Orleans Pelicans. They are in a tight spot right now. They need to show Anthony Davis that they are serious and willing to do whatever it takes to get him a championship caliber team around him to keep him from leaving. Keep him from leaving after this year. Well, not after this year, but after the year after that. And definitely not asking for a trade because he is fed up. When you go and do an interview and say, man, I feel like I have to be perfect every single night just for us to have a chance to win. I'm frustrated. Man, you are done. Mentally, he's already done. He already changed agents. Now the same agency, Clutch Sports, that's the agency for LeBron James, is run by his friends. I think Maverick Carter, Rich Paul. I'm not sure which one of it is. It might be both of them. But he's ready to make that transition. Unless they do something fantastic, and that's what this trade provides for them. It's a shot in the arm, and it gives him a shot. Definitely gives him a shot. So who would the New Orleans Pelicans lose? Who would they lose right now? They would lose Ian Clark. He was like third in the shooting guard rotation. He hardly ever even plays. They don't mind losing him. Let's see, who else did they lose? They lost Kay Williams. He's like a second year, or matter of fact, I think he might be a rookie, but he's playing in the G League. I mean, he's not even playing in the Big Ten. I don't even think he's played a single game for the Pelicans, in the NBA. So they don't mind losing him either. Solomon Hill. This is his last year of his contract. He's a journeyman small forward. Hey, Nothing wrong with him. They don't hate the guy, but he could leave after this year, so there's no stability for the future, no guarantee on that. And him being here hasn't even gotten him into the playoffs. They're still like the 12th or 13th seed out of the playoff race in the West. So might as well change it up, get somebody else who might bring a little excitement and take some of this pressure off of Anthony Davis, at least on the offensive end. Okay, they lose Check Diallo, Jahlil Okafor. He's the backup center. I mean, they had him signed to a 2-year deal, 1.6 million. They don't mind as long as they get a center to replace him, and they do in this deal. Darius Miller, he's playing about 20 minutes a game. He wasn't doing enough, to like I said, to move the needle for Anthony Davis. He's still super frustrated right now. So lose him, replace him with somebody else. Hopefully it makes a big enough difference to make him stay. Wesley Johnson, they lose him. He wasn't even playing. Julius Randle, he has an option for next year. He was their backup center. Like I said, as long as they get a backup center and a starting center, they're good to go. That way that Anthony Davis can move back into his natural position, which is the power forward, and stop taking that beating from playing bigger, stronger guys every day. So what did they do? They lost all those people. It didn't really even mean nothing. Who did they get? They got Mario Hezonja. He was signed to a 1-year deal. He's like 6'8", so it'll help to switch on the defensive end, especially playing with Anthony Davis. That'll help him as well. And he is an offensive dynamo. He can shoot the long ball pretty well. He can drive, get to the hole, post up just a little bit. And he's basically looking for a fresh start. He's looking for somewhere where they believe in him and will allow him to be the offensive dynamo. I've used that word twice now, that he knows he can be, that he was over in Europe. And this will be the perfect spot for them because not only they got Anthony Davis, they got Drew Holiday, but now they got Mario Hezonja to fill it up, get buckets in that small forward position because now they've got DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan from the Dallas Mavericks is coming to take that starting center spot. And hey. This guy just wants to rim run and get 25 rebounds a game. That will allow Mario Hezonja to take all the shots he wants. DeAndre Jordan isn't mad at that. They get Dwight Powell, who was backing up DeAndre Jordan. He'll be backing him up over here in New Orleans Pelicans. So that'll be a smooth transition. He's got a nice little 3-ball. He's starting to work into his game. It's not nice just yet, but for being a power forward, first couple years in the league, it's not bad. And it seems to be getting a little bit better. And he's fairly athletic. He's about 28 years old. DeAndre Jordan's about 30 years old. These guys are in win now mode. They are in win now mode. That's exactly where Anthony Davis is and the New Orleans Pelicans. They should be in win now mode as well. So you got DeAndre Jordan to move him over. You got a lot of scoring. You got Brokaw from the Mavericks just in case you need a little extra scoring. I mean, he's only getting $838,000 a year, but just in case somebody gets injured, you got him over there. Now the Dallas Mavericks. Who did they lose? They gave up DeAndre Jordan. Like I said, DeAndre Jordan's 30 years old. Luka Doncic is 19. It just doesn't match. And DeAndre Jordan's on a one-year deal. It ends at the end of this year. I don't think he's going to come back. And he has a great relationship with Dennis Smith Jr. I think he screwed off that game the other day against the Pelicans. Look, man, it's time to go. It's time to go. He only plays hard when he wants to, when it's contract time, during certain games. It's just pretty ridiculous. Give them an opportunity to build around Luka Doncic with like-aged players with skill sets that complement what he does on the floor. And DeAndre Jordan isn't really that guy. Okay, so now we get Julius Randle. Julius Randle to take his spot. Okay, he's getting like 8.6 rebounds a game. He's getting 0.6 blocks, and he's only 24 years old. So that's the guy that we want to get to. He can handle the ball. He's a beast down low. He doesn't block a lot of shots, but he does take a lot of charges, and he can move his feet very well. So they'll be able to switch on all these plays. Let's see, who else did they lose? And of course they lost Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr. went to the New York Knicks, so they would need a point guard. They get the point guard Frank Ntilikina from the Knicks. He's looking, man, he is desperate to get up out of there. He's desperate to get up out of the Knicks. That's not playing for 3 games and play for 3 games. You can hear it. You hear it in his voice during some of these interviews. He wasn't really too keen on not playing all like that. He was the eighth pick in the draft. He's like, y'all had an opportunity to draft Dennis Smith Jr. Y'all passing him to get me, and now y'all don't even want to play me, and y'all would love to have Dennis Smith Jr. back. So they're not really losing all that much. They're, like I said, they're losing DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Powell. These guys don't match with the age of Luka Doncic and his skill set. Even though they were good guys, just time to move on. Harrison Barnes, he's a one-trick pony. He's basically 3-and-D. That's all he wants to do. But 3-and-D is exactly what the Rockets are looking for. So everybody loses the stuff that they don't want anymore, and they get exactly what they're looking for in this trade. That's why I believe the trade is easy to go through for everybody, because they all get what they want. Nobody feels like they're getting screwed in the deal at all. Like I said, the Dallas Mavericks also get Noah Vonleh and Damian Dotson in the deal. So let's take a look at these starting lineups. When you say we're getting all these trades, well, who's going to play? Who's going to start? Man, I got you covered. I'm not throwing out pie in the sky like, hey, man, trade for Kevin Durant, trade for Steph, and just put them on the team. And you're like, well, who are we going to give up? Come on now. Be serious. I'm talking about realistic trades that can happen. They can happen right now that everybody's going to be happy with. Starting with the Houston Rockets, here's their lineup. Of course, they got MVP. He has been on fire like the last month, like I have never seen before. Daryl Morey, he likes to go for it. He believes he's real close to beating the Golden State Warriors and getting a championship. They don't want to waste any more of Harden's prime. He's got the start at point guard. Chris Paul, when he comes back from injury, God bless, get well soon. He will be that starting shooting guard. Then Harrison Barnes, their new acquired player, the new starting small forward. PJ Tucker at the power forward, and Clint Capella at the center. This guy Austin Rivers has been playing well in the last couple of weeks. Ever since he got released from the Suns when he was traded from the Wizards. We went to a team that could win now. They have a chance to win the championship. Playing very well off the bench. Then you got Eric Gordon. Then Houston's own, Gerald Green birthday cake or cupcake dunk doer in the slam dunk contest. Then you got Danuel House, who has been playing well. He was a G League guy last year for the Phoenix Suns, and he showed out. Now he's got a spot in the rotation. He was starting for a little bit, but now with Harrison Barnes, that's less pressure on Harrison Barnes, less pressure on Danuel House, and then he still can get it done, at the backup power forward position. Then you got the veteran stalwart Nene at the backup center. So then you got Ian Clark. Ian Clark has championship experience along with Harrison Barnes, because they both played with the Golden State Warriors when they won a championship. So the bright lights, the playoffs, the stage isn't going to be too big for these guys. That's why they are perfect additions, and he can be that third string point guard. If one of these guys gets hurt, Austin Rivers has been hurt a couple times, along with James Harden and Chris Paul, but that's only if they need him. Like I said, he can give some quality minutes if you give him a chance. James Ennis, he's been starting early in the season for them. He'd be the third string small forward. But Danuel House, like I said, he came on board and was just playing like gangbusters, so he got moved down in the depth chart. But he can be the third string small forward if anybody gets hurt. So they are definitely 12 deep. They're 12 deep on this team. This is an excellent Houston Rockets roster. Then you got Isaiah Hartenstein. He was signed to a deal, but he hardly ever gets to play. But he is there as a third string power forward if you need him. Moving on to the New Orleans Pelicans, they needed somebody who was ready to play right now to relieve some of the offensive burden off of, Anthony Davis, and someone who could take the burden off of playing defense against those bigger, stronger guys at center position. They got everything they could ask for. Somebody who's ready, who's played in the playoffs before. Talking about DeAndre Jordan. These guys are ready to go. And you got somebody with a chip on his shoulder ready to prove himself and ready to be wanted on a long-term deal. That's Mario Hezonja. So you're starting with Elfrid Payton, Drew Holiday, the near borderline all-star, holding it down the two-guard spot. Like I said, Mario Hezonja at the small forward can light it up. He's athletic, can get buckets, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. AD Anthony Davis, all-world, all-galaxy Anthony Davis at power forward. Then DeAndre Jordan, all I want to do is get 25 rebounds and about 8 points and play as good defense as I can and without blocking shots. That's DeAndre Jordan. That's a nice starting lineup, and that should make it very difficult for Anthony Davis to at least, demand a trade. Got Tim Frazier, who's been on the team, back starting at point guard. We move him back down to backup point guard because Elfrid Payton just came back off of injury. Elfrid Payton. Then you got Frank Jackson. I believe he's the backup shooting guard. I'm not sure if he's a rookie or second-year guy, but he's really young, athletic, excitable. He's got a reasonable jumper, reasonable drive game. I do know he's got some hops, so he can get some buckets off the bench, and there's no pressure. Then you got E'Twaun Moore, who started a lot of games for the Pelicans. Now he's holding down that bench unit, so whenever Anthony Davis goes to sit down, he doesn't feel like he has to rush right back into the game or play all 48 minutes. You got these guys who were starters. They're not coming off the bench. That's how you get not much of a drop-off when you go to the second unit. Then you got Nikola Mirotic, who's been playing great in the starting lineup. Now you move him down to the bench. He was killing people in the starting lineup. Just imagine what he's going to do coming off the bench. Then you got Dwight Powell, who's been backing up DeAndre Jordan at the center, and he's still going to be doing that now. He's about 28. He's got some super hops. Like I said, he's developing his three-point shot, and he plays pretty good defense. So there you go. That's a nice backup rotation for the New Orleans Pelicans. It should give them a chance to win on every night. They got a two-way guard, a two-way player, and Andrew Harrison. He's one of the twins. He used to play for Kentucky. They've seen him. They like what he can do. Like I said, they gave him a two-year deal, so they can always bring him up if they need that 11th guy. Then you got Ryan Brokoff. He's a nice shooter, a reasonable slasher, but he's just low on the totem pole, for the Dallas Mavericks. So you trade him over there. Hey, if somebody gets hurt, have any issues, boom, there you go. He can come in and get him some minutes, and playing alongside DeAndre Jordan and Anthony Davis will make it so much easier if he gets onto the floor, make a nice smooth transition so he can get some run. So they got at least 10 deep, and I'd say 11 deep if you combine Andrew Harrison and Ryan Brokoff, because you don't want them to do too much. That's a pretty nice squad, and they would definitely do this deal. Now moving on to the New York Knickerbockers. Of course they're going to do this deal. It takes away, it distracts from them tanking to get Zion Williamson because of the excitement that Dennis Smith Jr. provides. He's young, just a little bit younger than Porzingis. I believe it's like 24. Oh man, and that excitement is going to carry over to the Porzingis so that hopefully he goes ahead and re-signs with that max deal with the New York Knicks. Tim Hardaway Jr., who is in the midst of his best season ever at the shooting guard. Then you got Solomon Hill. Solomon Hill at the small forward position. He's going to be starting for Kevin Knox now. Kevin Knox is a rookie. And like I said, he was playing fairly well. I believe he's out of Kentucky. He was playing fairly well, but you don't want him to hit that rookie wall. You don't want him to develop any bad habits. Solomon Hill is a veteran. He's a sturdy veteran who can give you some solid minutes, solid points, solid production to show this guy how to be a professional. And his deal is up at the end of this year. So if he wants to re-sign and be a mentor for Kevin Knox, cool. If not, no love lost. Kevin Knox should be ready to step into that starting position. Then when Porzingis comes back, of course he's going to be the starting power forward. I didn't want to put him there. I wanted to put, Kevin Knox there because, for right now. But I didn't want all the New York Knicks fans. I ain't hating on y'all. I wouldn't be like, oh, man, you talking about he's not going to be starting? Kevin Knox going to be starting? No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying who's going to be playing for now. But I just went ahead. I don't want no trouble with y'all. So I went ahead and starting power forward. And Fizz Fizdale, he's experimenting right now. Basically, he just wanted to bench Enes Kanter because they're going to try to trade him before the trade deadline because he's on the last year of his deal, and they don't really want him playing because he's going to help them win too many games. So they got Luke Cornett. It's a little bit younger, and what he does, he opens up the floor because he has a nice three-point shot, and he's pretty sturdy on the defensive end. He's not going to give them any problems at all. He'll listen exactly what Fizdale does. So that's why they got him in the starting lineup to open up the lanes for Dennis Smith Jr., Tim Hardaway Jr. You got two juniors on there. And Porzingis whenever he comes back. Then on the backup, they got Emmanuel Mudiay, who started a lot of games this year. Got him at the backup, so he'd be solid. Alonzo Trier, they just signed him, like I said, I think the 2 or 3 year deal. Bravo to you, an undrafted rookie out of Arizona. He is a scoring machine, so he can get buckets definitely off the bench. When you come off the bench, they definitely want somebody who can heat up real effing quick, so they can get some buckets so they don't lose too much ground whenever you guys are on the floor. Then Kevin Knox, like I said, he's been starting. He's developing his all-around game. He's a very solid player. All three of those guys can get buckets. So Lance Thomas at the power forward, he won't really have to do that much. He hasn't been playing a lot. He's been playing a little bit, but he can focus on hitting catch and shoot, 16-footers, posting up a little bit, and playing defense and getting rebounds. There you go, letting his offense come to him. Same thing with Mitchell Robinson. He was drafted, I think, in the second round. I wanted the Lakers to get him, but they decided to get Mo Wagner. Hopefully that turns out for the best, but he is super athletic. Super athletic. He didn't even play in college. He agreed to play, and then he reneged on his commitment and decided to just, work out for that year, to prepare for the NBA draft. He did that, got drafted by the Knickerbockers. Congratulations to you. He is developing his offensive game. He does have a nice shot whenever he shoots it, but he won't be called upon to score a bunch of points. We got those Mudiay, Trier, and Kevin Knox coming off the bench with you. You ain't got to worry about getting buckets. You can just block shots on the defensive end and get those putbacks, and set picks. And then if you need some buckets, the third string point guard, this guy Trey Burke, this guy right here can get buckets. I don't want to say he looks like Allen Iverson, but he looks like Allen Iverson. Plays like him. The crossover, the handles is nice. He's not Allen Iverson, but man, he's a good enough version of him right now. So hopefully they'll stick with him and give him a contract after this year. Then you got Isaiah Hicks at the power forward. He's never even played, I don't believe he's played a single game for the Knicks. He's been playing in the G League, but he is there just in case, somebody gets hurt or Lance Thomas doesn't really work out. He could always bring that guy up and give him some minutes. And then you want to showcase this guy Enes Kanter just enough, make sure he doesn't get hurt, so someone will trade for him and give you something before the deadline. So in this rotation, when Porzingis comes back, they'll have at least 11-man deep rotation. So they can be exciting. They can still lose games. No one will really notice or care, and get Zion Williamson and have their point guard of the future, who is box office, to put butts in the seats. Okay, now we're moving on to the squad. Talking about the Dallas Mavericks. Frank Ntilikina, he'd be so happy. That's the kind of guys you want to play with Luka Doncic. About the same age, that don't need the ball in their hand, can play without the ball, can catch and shoot, okay, and can play defense. These guys can all do all those things. They can all handle the ball enough, to help him out so you don't have to wear Luka Doncic out. And they can all switch because everybody in the starting lineup is 6'7" or above. Frank Ntilikina is 6'7". I think he's like 21 years old. Then you got Damian Dotson. I think he's like, 23? He's 24 years old. But he's like 6'8". It's craziness how tall these guys are. Then 6'8", Luka Doncic. Then you got Noah Vonleh. He reminded me of Chris Bosh when he came out of college. But this guy is awesome. And he's bulked up and got super strong. Played great defense on Christmas against the Greek Freak. That's the kind of guy that you want. And he can play small ball center if ever there's a need for that. And he's, like I said, he's like 6'9". Then you got Julius Randle. Julius Randle scores like 18 points a game and gets like 6, 7, or 8 rebounds a game. This is the guy you want. this is the guy you want. And he's only got a player option for next year for $9 million. If you offer this guy a 3-year deal, $12 million each, which is nothing, this guy will sign with y'all immediately because he knows y'all want him and he knows that he has an opportunity to play in the playoffs for the first time and be a key cog in the future, hopefully a championship team. He's developing his outside jumper and his three ball is looking fairly nice for a center player. And like I said, he can handle the ball. He can do so many things. You can run the offense through him. And he is a beast down low. And he will be happy to be there. The same thing with Noah Vonleh. Same thing with Damian Dotson. Same thing with Frank Ntilikina. You can sign these guys. They're all about the same age. I believe, like I said, he's 24 years old also with Julius Randle. So you can, man, these guys can grow together with Luka Doncic. No one is confused about whose team it is. It is Luka Doncic's team. They're happy to be there, and they'll be happy to re-sign for very small amounts next year for the long haul to play with Luka Doncic. Then coming off the bench, you got Jalen Brunson. This gives him an opportunity to get more minutes, be the backup point guard. Wesley Matthews, if he has an attitude, we're going to the bench. We'll just bring up Devin Harris because we still got him on the squad, and we'll just trade him if we can get anything at the trade deadline. We're going to be still looking to do that regardless, but until then, he's going to be that backup shooting guard because he plays pretty good D and he can knock down threes occasionally. Dorian Finney-Smith is now the backup small forward, getting much more minutes. Who better to play behind than Luka Doncic? I mean, he's going to carry most of the work, the heavy load. He's going to do most of the heavy lifting, is what I was trying to say. But he is showing an ability to play great defense. He's got a lot of length on him. He's knocking down the three ball at an okay clip. He's starting to drive in a little bit more. But like I said, that defense and that transition offense is on point right now. They're all about the same age. He's like 20-something years old. Hey, man, get this guy on the squad. Keep him on there and give him more minutes, more substantial minutes, like at least 20 minutes a game. Then you got the legend, Dirk. I don't think we need to talk about that guy. That guy is that guy, and I think it's going to be his last year. But way to give him an opportunity to go out with a bang because I really believe this squad can get into the playoffs and compete at least for a championship. They can try. They can try because they got a lot of different guys that can switch and wreak havoc on D. And they've got a closer in Luka Doncic. They've got the veteran legend and Dirk. I mean, so they got. Hey, listen. If you've got these guys, Wesley Matthews, and you got Dorian Finney-Smith, who can all spot up, and Jalen Brunson coming off the bench, you need somebody who can draw a double team. Most teams don't have a post player who can draw a double team, especially coming off the bench. That is Jahlil Okafor. If he can do anything, they say his defense not that great, but he can draw a double team and kill people with the back to his basket. And then if you leave with a double team, Dirk sitting out there wide open, he can barely move, but he can knock down the spot up threes. Dorian Finney-Smith and Wesley Matthews, we know they can do that. And Jalen Brunson is okay with the threes himself. And if anybody gets injured, if it comes a clutch time, you need somebody, a veteran a stalwart that's won a championship. J.J. Barea is that third string point guard, and the third string shooting guard is Devin Harris. Now I've got this guy Ray Spalding as a third string power forward. This guy is excellent. I believe he came out of Louisville. This guy is long. He's athletic. He's got a nice jumper. He's got some handles. He knows how to move without the ball. He's just very young and raw. And of course, he'd be playing behind Noah Vonleh and Dirk Nowitzki, so he's not going to get that many minutes. But what better person to learn under than Dirk Nowitzki? It doesn't get any better than that. I believe they really have a chance to do some great things with this lineup. Make sure you leave your comments. Just if you think it's good, cool, you agree. If not, it's okay. I'm not mad at you, not at all. But that's how I shape my views. But they're fluid. I'm just sticking there like it's this way or the highway. I listen to what everybody else has to say, and then that's how I continue to mold my views and thoughts and opinions, using them views, thoughts, and opinions of others as well. Like I said, now to close this off, I had a question from one of my good subscribers. I'm not sure if it was Size. I'm not sure exactly who it was. I'm sorry if I forget your name, but I'll probably put it down into the into the description box, but they had asked me why is Rick Carlisle playing the subs way too long, especially in the fourth quarter? Why does he have the rotations like this? Why is he coaching like this? It's simple as this. They won that championship 2011. Okay, great. Congratulations, y'all. They've been sucking pretty much every year since then. And his cachet's been running out, but they haven't decided to make a move with Rick Carlisle because they didn't really have a good enough team to really do anything. So it's not like what's Rick Carlisle supposed to do? Unfortunately, they traded away their 2019 first round draft pick along with Trae Young for Luka Doncic. Okay, you see, I'm saying not with Trae Young, but with Trae Young, for Luka. Actually, it was Trae Young. Trae Young in their 2019 first round draft pick for Luka Doncic. So if they tank this year, they get nothing out of that. They just tank it for no reason. And this is likely Dirk's last year. So why would they want to tank anyway? He doesn't want to go through that. Then you combine that with the sensational play of Luka Doncic. Now the fans think, hey man, we have a chance to win. You can't just come out there sucking every day because man, Luka Doncic might just win you some games anyway. Trying to tank. He's that good. I mean, he is really that good. So, I mean, you got to try to win now. But the thing is, Rick Carlisle, he's got an ego. He likes a power structure where he's at the top and everybody else just follows directions. It's the reason why they butted heads with Rajon Rondo a couple years ago and sent him home because Rajon Rondo likes to do his own things. He thinks he's pretty good at running the team. Rick Carlisle's like, hey, man, I'm not here for your input. I'm the coach. You just be the player, do the best job you can. He was like, no. That's why they butted heads and got rid of him. I think that's what a couple of times he's benched Luka Doncic or kept him out longer than you thought he should because he has a tendency. He's like, man, I just won MVP in the EuroLeague. I got this. I know how to go on my own tangent and get the job done. Rick Carlisle doesn't like that. So he relies on the veterans that he trusts, like J.J. Barea and Devin Harris, even though you think they might not be as good as Luka Doncic, anybody else that's playing. But he feels good with them, and he knows they're not going to try to usurp his authority. He knows exactly what they want to do. They know exactly what he wants done out of them. So that's why he plays those guys. So there's a little bit of pressure on him now. It's like, hey, you need to get this done. Luka Doncic can actually give us a chance to do something and to make the playoffs. And we can't just tank the last year of Dirk's legendary Hall of Fame career. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe. I appreciate all the people leaving your wonderful comments, sharing the videos, liking the videos. Like I said, and making sure and watching on a regular basis. Even the ones that aren't about the Dallas Mavericks. I appreciate y'all the most. Now, some people asked how to help out the channel financially to help it grow. There's a link in the description box. I appreciate you for that. I'm Iron Man from the music group The Lottery. Showtime Records. Holla.